Are you struggling with roadblocks that keep you from living a fulfilled life? If so, be sure to tune into this episode and don't forget to share it out. Let's go.
Can't say I never tried to warn ya. And I'm just trying to tell ya.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ed Troxel from edtroxel.com, where I make video marketing simple and fun here online. Now, if this is your first time tuning into this episode, let me just give you a setting of what's going to happen here. We are actually going to be at a coffee shop, a virtual one, where you, the listener, are going to eavesdrop in on the conversation that I'm having with my guest, who is a fellow entrepreneur. You're going to hear about entrepreneurship and what we talk about as business owners. And you're going to be sitting at the table next to ours. So grab your drink and pull up a seat to that table right over there, because you're about to eavesdrop in on our conversation. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat if you're watching us live. And if you're listening to us on the replay, welcome. Be sure to connect with me anywhere online, but more importantly, you can just connect with me on my website. There's a chat there. So we are going to dive into the conversation, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest. And I hope you enjoy and stick around until the end. After our guest leaves, I'll be popping back on and say a few words and how I can help you in your business. So here we go. Hey, how's your day going?
It is going well. How about yours?
Oh, so good. I'm so excited that we get to catch up here and check in with each other, because we've been online for a minute, but correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time we've been meeting up.
Yes, this is the first time we are meeting.
I love it. And that's the beauty of social media and being able to connect, is not only having the conversation online, but meeting, quote, in person, because that's how we work, is you have to connect and then be able to move that conversation into a face-to-face interaction.
Right.
And so tell me a little bit about you and what you've been up to in terms of the business.
Well, what I have been doing since this whole quarantine, everybody's been in the house, but I have been working while I've been quarantined. I actually got accredited, so I'm now an executive personal coach. So, yeah.
Well,
Right there, wait, right there. So yes, now I am official and I'm working on my accreditation to be considered into the International Coaching Federation. So that's my next thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because I'm curious. So what sparked the interest first? We'll start there at kind of like at the beginning. What sparked the interest in doing the program?
Well, I have to take you back to bring you forward.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like ever since whenever people have always come to me with their problems. Strangers have literally, I remember one instance, I had taken my son, I'm from the country, to go see a drag racing show. So with ATVs and motorcycles drag racing. Yeah. And this complete grown, burly looking man sits down next to me, and he just starts spilling his life story to me. And I was like, okay, but that's not unusual for me. People do that. People feel safe with me. So they tell me, and I'm like, I'm a complete stranger. But I took that and I was just like, okay, maybe that's something, because I've always been interested in business. So I was just like, okay, but as entrepreneurs, we try different things and we fail, and then we try something else and we fail until we find but that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. It's no right or wrong thing. And I feel like this is where I'm meant to be.
See, I love that. And it's so funny, as you were saying that, people come up to you and just start spilling the beans. I've had a lot of those moments, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, no problem. I'm going to help you out, but we just met. Like, I just met you, but I'm glad to be able to, help you and point you in the right direction, because that's what I love to do. So and it's good that you saw that and you realized that that was an opportunity for you to jump on. And when you did, were you working a 9 to 5, or did you have a different business prior to that, or how did this come about?
Well, I've always had a 9 to 5, and I still do. Like, because I believe in having multiple streams of income, and until this can become my sole source, I will always, because I have a mouth to feed. So,
Yes.
you can't call the power company off wishes and hopes. They're not going for it. So I've always had a job, but like I said, I've always had multiple streams of income coming in. So actually, it was a funny story. Like, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then. Like, as any entrepreneurship, but just growing up, period, to becoming who you are, you have a lot of pitfalls. And I know for me, it was when I was 32. I had just had my son at 32, and a single parent, and I ended up not being able to financially provide for him and different things like that. So I ended up losing my home and all of that. And I had to go back to my childhood home. But silver lining, God always has a plan. It's like I was freaking out, okay, on the inside. On the inside, I was freaking out. And I was like, okay, how I'm going to do this? What do I need to do? And my son, I had a great, my son's father is awesome. He ended up taking him for a year so I could get on my feet. And I did have a full-time job that I was working like extra overtime with. Okay. So I would go in at about 8 and I wouldn't come home till 11.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it was like that. But it was in that time where my son, because like there was no daycares here, so he had to go live with his father, I wrote my first book. God used everything that I had gone through to write my first book. And how that happened, funny story. I was listening to a lady that I follow, and I was going to her conference, and she felt like, I mean, I know a lot of people may not be God people, but I am.
Yeah.
So she was like, I feel like some of you all need to be vendors at this event. God is speaking. And it was like, I couldn't get away from it. Every time I was like, nah, that's not for me. So I ended up signing up to be a vendor. I had no book, no thought, no product, no nothing. I had 3 months to get a book written and published, start to finish.
No.
Yes. 3 months. And I was in another program, and I asked the same lady, and she was like, well, this is who I use for my publishing. And I spoke to the lady, and she actually, it was like how we've been online friends for almost a year, never met. It was like that with her. I never met her, but when I talked to her, it was like it was old times. It was like it was an old friend.
Yes.
And she literally helped me. I wrote every single day, and I got that book done in 3 months. And I saw the book when everybody else saw the book when I got to the conference.
Wow. Okay, that is amazing. And that's a huge accomplishment on so many different levels from that storyline there. And with the book part, 3 months to write and publish. Now, how did that happen? Because talk about roadblocks and like having, I'm sure, writer's block and all of the things. Like, how did you make that happen?
I prayed a lot. I cried a lot. I stopped writing. But she was like, okay, I need this many chapters from you written every day. She was like, you have to sit down every day and write. And because my son wasn't here, and because I had nothing but time to write books when I wasn't at work, I was able to accomplish it. So it was me sitting down and literally coaching myself past the fear and being able to, because the type of book I wanted to write, God was like, no, that's not where we're going with this. You need to get personal. You need to let people see what I've done for you and brought you through. So I was like, okay. So I wrote like I was like how we're talking in a coffee shop or virtual. That's how I wrote the book. Like you were literally my best friend, and I was telling you all the stories that have happened in my life.
Wow, that is so cool. And so, what's the book called?
It's called Ruthless.
Woo, Ruthless.
Ruthless.
That is amazing. And is it just how do you frame it? Is it the journey that you've been on, or is it a specific theme that you wanted to start with?
It's my memoir. It's basically a journey between life and death. Like I had to choose life or death. So,
That is nuts. I mean, huge shout out to you for that, because that is a lot. And so that's where you started with that, and then that's how you kind of got into the coaching part here.
yep, because I was talking to a lady at church and I had never heard of Valerie Burton or anything that she's done. And like we were just simply having a conversation. I just met her. We were simply having a conversation and she was just talking to me about it. And the more she talked about, because that's something she was interested in, and the more she was talking about it, the more I was like, that sounds like that's right up my alley. So I started reading some of her books and I started kind of listening to it. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is meant for me. So I saved up my money and I joined the course. I made an investment on myself and I
Yes.
became a coach.
And so you're still doing the 9 to 5. Is
Yes.
that right?
Mhm.
And so tell me how that feels for you. Because this is a thing that I find a lot of entrepreneurs, or at least aspiring entrepreneurs, will think this too, is that you either are a 9 to 5er or an entrepreneur. You can't be both, because if you're both, you're just looked at funny. And I'm always squashing that. If I don't hear it as much now, but in the
Mhm.
early days I did. And it's like, if you can work a 9 to 5 and do something else, by all means, please, especially if you got mouths to feed.
Mhm. Mhm.
And how has the 9 to 5 worked out for you with this part of the business too?
It can be hard sometimes because when you come home, you are drained, especially me being a single parent. I come home to extra duties. So it's not like I just come home and can relax. No, I have a whole kid I have to tend to. And then when he goes to bed, I use that time to start working on different things. I use when he's gone to visit his dad and that side of the family to work on my business. Any kind of spare time that I have, I try my best to make sure that I'm working on it so I can build it. Even if it's part time right now, it's still my baby and it's still something that you have to grow.
Yeah, it is. And now that you have that, uh, the accreditation, is that correct?
Mhm.
Now that you have that, where do you feel like you want to go with that next? Like, what's that next step kind of look like?
I want to become a personal and executive coach, which is just the next step because right now I'm a personal development. I've just been certified in that. So I want to get the accreditation. So eventually that I could have my own business because like I feel like you have to know what it is you want. And I don't want a macro business. I want a micro business. And I don't
Woo!
yeah.
Let's talk about that. So what is that difference for you between the two? Because that's a big one.
Yes, because I feel like people like, I want $1 million and I want this and I want that. And I'm like, but okay, do you really want that? Or is that just you seeing everybody do that? Is that something that you really want? For me, I had to learn. I'm building this business so I can spend more time with my family. I don't want to be away from my family. So I want to have a nice enough lifestyle that I can still incorporate my kid and my future spouse, whomever that may be, into my daily life. And it's not running my life. I don't want it to be another job, even though it is my job.
Yes, and that's a big one. It's so easy for us to get caught up in these online streets with more, more, and more.
Yeah.
And you got to have that 7, 8 figure business. You got to do all of the things and be hustling nonstop. And then you're like, cool, but one, am I getting the results? Two, am I getting the results and being happy? And how much have I given up
Yes.
for that? And when you look at that, then you realize, yeah, I got family, I got friends, I got personal time. Like, I just want to sit down and breathe for a minute. Like, there's
Yes.
all these things that are so much more valuable. And I mean, everyone has their different goals and things, but I'm the same way, where I'm like, I'm happy. I mean, I'd like to be a little bit more comfortable, of course, but thankfully I'm good, and I'll just keep doing what I need to do to make that be sustainable, you know?
Yes. You gotta find out what you value, and if it's bags and more money, more, like you said, then that's something you need to go for. But for me, family and truly being fulfilled is what makes me the happiest. And yes, I want a more comfortable lifestyle, but at this, I'm not willing to sacrifice my family and my time for more. I don't want a house on a hill. I don't want 1,000 room house. I don't want that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, if I get a big house, I want to make sure that it's got enough space between the rooms so that I could have roommates, and which would be my family and friends. You know, like nobody wants to live. Well, I don't want to live up in a big old house that's super echoey and empty,
No.
and not have anybody to share with. Like,
Nope. Nope.
fun. I want to be able to have everyone and their family over and enjoy the space.
Yes, I don't wanna be living in a living mausoleum. I don't.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, you know, and with entrepreneurship, so you have the 9 to 5, and so this is interesting because you have the 9 to 5 and the business.
Mhm.
So when you're, how do I want to say this? So are you always waking up ready to hit the ground running with all the things and there's never a bad day, or are you still hitting those highs and lows just like the rest of us?
I'm just like everybody else. There are days like I'm like, "Ugh, not today." I'm not feeling it. But, there are some days I'm like, I'm ready and I have all the things. And then there's some days I'm like, I didn't get to anything on my list. And that's okay. Like you can take the good with the bad. It is what it is.
Yeah. And when you, because that was important, when you hit those days where you don't really get anything checked off that list,
Mhm.
a lot of us feel like we're a failure, that we
Mhm.
didn't do anything. And there's those times where we have to stop and look at, what does that mean we didn't check
Mhm.
anything off the list? Because chances are we added more things to that list without actually adding them to that specific list. You know, we didn't actually write it in, but we still took care of it. Whether
Right.
there was a doctor's appointment, or something happened with the dog, or you had to attend to something else. Like there's all these things that come up that don't
Mhm.
make it to the list. And
Yes.
we just have to really remember that we have to pause and reflect on things. And sometimes, oftentimes, when I hit those roadblocks of, I don't know what I need to do. I know that I need to do a lot of things, but I don't know what I should be doing because I'm just in this funk. And I have learned, it's always a work in progress, but I've learned to be better at not beating myself up as
Mhm.
much and taking more breaks and being okay with taking a break.
Right. Because what I've learned is I'm like, did I really fail? Like,
Yeah.
did I really fail? Because like today I didn't feel like it, but I took time for self-care. Me replenishing what I've been giving out is still me checking off a list, but it was just an internal list. I might not have got to the business stuff. Did I spend more time with my kid? I'm sure he would check off like, you're the best mommy in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to, like you said, reflect on what it is. Like, because everything is not black and white. Like you were the best you for that day.
Yes.
Period. That's it. Do your best, forget the rest. And if today your best was watching TV and watching Real Housewives, I'm telling on myself, then that's what it is for that day. That was you in your best moment. Now, if
Yeah.
you know tomorrow that you could do better, then do better. But
Yes. And that's huge, is giving ourselves permission. And
mhm,
I think that there's a fine line, right, with giving
mhm,
ourselves permission to chill on the couch and do what we want versus I'm just going to be lazy for the next week or two. Like there's
mhm.
always that fine line that we have to learn to balance, but at least giving ourselves permission to be okay with that downtime
Yeah.
and understanding that that's our recharge time,
Yeah.
that just like our phones, like our phones are not going to stay powered up all the time.
Mhm.
And even if you plug into the charger 24/7, it's still going to act up when it doesn't get powered off completely every so often.
Right, right, and
And we're the same.
yeah, and it's like, even in that, was I procrastinating or was I self-caring? It's like doing that's work. That's doing the work. What was the cause of me procrastinating? Was it because I didn't wanna do that task? Does that task feel overwhelming to me? There's always a reason. You have to understand what emotion that you are in. Feel it, understand, and let it teach you why it's there.
Yes, exactly. Teach, and that was the thing. So I was just talking to my friend Tabitha today about Clubhouse,
Mhm,
the new Clubhouse app, and that's where we met inside of one of they call them rooms, so just a chat room, and we were talking about that, where it's so refreshing to be on this new platform, because you basically everyone is at zero in terms of followers and things like that, because one, it's new, but two, that's not the first thing you're seeing when you go on the platform. You're
mhm.
seeing a room title and faces and names.
Mm.
But if you want to see like how many followers and their bio and all that, you have to tap on their profile and then do a little digging. But the first action is really just entering the room and
Mhm.
listening to the conversation that's going on. And that's what's a beautiful thing, is because now you get to listen, and then for those who want to participate, then they can start to have their voice heard. And it's amazing because you can be in a room with everyone who is aspiring
Mhm.
to well over, 6 7 figures in their business. You're with TV personalities, you're with the hosts. Like there's so many people that are showing up over there,
Mhm.
and everyone's just opening up their arms and saying, "Come in, like let's
Oh,
talk about this."
I cannot wait to get in chat room. I've been on the wait list.
Yeah, it's like it's so powerful. I finally just got in. I mean,
Mhm.
it was funny because I'm like, I'm usually like up in front of the line with tech stuff, but
Mhm.
everyone else was like getting their invites and stuff. I was like, I just reserved my name, and so finally I got in, and it's definitely my space in turn. Not, I should back up. It's not like MySpace from back in the day. It's for me, a space to be able to hang out, because again, it's part of, you get to be part of the conversation, and
Mhm.
there's no extras like, well, you don't have 10,000 followers, so you can't be here.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
again, I'm not about the numbers. I'm about the conversation. I'm about
Yeah.
us showing up,
The
delivering,
quiet.
and engaging. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. And because we all can learn from one another. I don't care if you have 10,000 followers or more or less. Like literally, that does not matter, because it's just a number. And it's not like you have all of those followers actively engaging with you and who are going to be part of your real community, and have your back when you need them.
Yes. Yes, I agree, and, like, since I'm not on Clubhouse right now, but that's how I feel about TikTok. Like, I love TikTok.
I am a TikToker. I don't know. I have to see if we're TikTok buddies over there too.
Yeah, we have to see it. I don't think I am. We have to. I
Yeah.
love TikTok.
So tell me why you love TikTok, because this is a good conversation. I like TikTok too.
I love the creativity everybody is bringing. Like, I have seen anything from, especially like the transitions and just people being funny. Like, you get to see a lot of people's just creative side, and that's what I love. Like, I love just to create stuff. So
Yeah.
it is so much fun. It is so much fun.
When it first came out, I just watched. I just wanted to see what the platform was like, because I knew it was different than the other ones that we have. And I knew that just posting something wasn't the way to do it. So I wanted to watch. And what I found was that it was so fascinating. It still is, but it was so fascinating because it really does allow you to just be you, and
Mhm.
to just do your thing. And it's funny because used to be just like a teen thing
Mhm.
back before they changed over to TikTok. And what I love about it is that not only do you get to see people just as they are and just being cutting loose a little bit, is that you get to see people of all ages.
Yes.
And that to me is what was inspiring. And that's why I love being able to go over there is you get to see people be happy. I mean, of course, it's not like it's a perfect platform and there's no negativity and no, whatever over there. But it definitely is a different environment and people are really supportive of each other. And
Yeah.
it does make your day. And it's funny. I believe that's still their tagline, make your day on their website, but
Oh,
they don't have that on the mobile app. And I thought, what a missed opportunity because when you open up the app, I would love to see that there before you start scrolling because it does make your day.
yes, it literally does. Like my son has done TikToks with me. My dad has done them. I'm like, because at first I thought it was like a kids app. I only got on it on quarantine because I was bored. And my friend was like, let's do this. What was it? Uh Meg the Savage dance. And I can't dance at all. So I was like, okay. And I did it and I was like, I like this app. So I just kept scrolling and I kept learning different and you learn a lot on TikTok. Like you learn a lot.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, it is crazy the stuff that you can learn on there. And it's fascinating because I'm like,
Mhm.
I've learned a lot on TikTok. I don't know if I can say the same from these other platforms. I mean, you do with the conversation, but like just scrolling through, you're like, I had no idea. What?
Never knew that. And like, and I know I can't be the only one. Like you see it on TikTok and you gotta try it. Even if you don't upload it, you gotta try it for yourself to see if it works.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of being able to embrace technology and know that there are various options available from the different social networks. And yes, you can be on all of them. Doesn't mean you have to have an active presence on all of them. And to know what you're going in for. So, like with TikTok, we know that for the most part, we're going in for entertainment
Yes.
and we're going to be educated as well, but mostly it's entertainment. And I mean, you could probably say that for the most part for most social media, but again, it's like going into a networking conference and knowing who's going to be there and who you really want to talk to
Mhm.
before getting lost in the crowd and not being able to like find who you're trying to talk to, and then the conference is over.
Yeah. And I like that they tailor your For You page exactly what you want to see. So I like that.
Yeah, they have done an amazing job with it. And are you using TikTok at all for the business yet, or do you have plans to use it for the business?
Yes. Yes, I do. Like, and I've actually like IG Reels has been another contender. Like, and I upload my TikToks to IG Reels and I get a lot of engagement off of that too.
Yes, I'm a fan of creating in one place and repurposing in another,
Yes.
and that is a great way to do it.
Mhm.
Um, because for the most part, I mean, on TikTok, I start there because I like the platform. I don't really have a strategy for it because it's not my thing right now. I'm not trying to like win on TikTok. I just like being there and having fun. And then
Mhm.
I'll repurpose that over to Instagram Reels, and then it's like, oh, all right, it's picking up some pace over here. This is cool, you
Yeah.
know.
And then it's like, I don't know if you're like me, but it's like, I like over 3,000 people have seen my video.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
It's like it's nuts. And so that's the cool thing about this is that about this meaning video,
Mhm.
because once you have video content, you can put it wherever you want.
Mhm.
And that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But once you have that video content, you're able to go ahead and share that wherever and drive up those views, drive up those conversations, drive up those conversions. Like all of those things can come from one piece of video content, and it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be short either. Like you can go either way, and
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, whatever's comfortable for you. Like, this is your baby. You grow it how you want.
Yes. And speaking of video, so because you're doing the TikToks,
Mhm.
are you nervous about being on video at all?
I used to be, but the more I've done it, I'm just like, "Oh, okay, it's not so bad." Like, I'm just like, now I can't lie. Like, if I dance, I'm like, ugh, I can't believe I uploaded that. I'm telling you, I have, yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And you know, it's so funny because when it comes to dancing, all of us want to dance. Whether we can or not, that's a different story. But all of us want to dance. And it's like, especially now, being able to just cut loose and just
Just
dance,
be.
move, it just feels so good. It's like, who cares? Just let me do it.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm the greatest dancer that ever walked this earth. It just doesn't translate very well, but I just go with what's in my mind. We just go there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exciting. And so with the new, well, I don't know, what do I call it, new business or for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I would say it.
Yeah. So with the new business, where do you kind of see it going or would like to see it going?
Where I would like to see it go, to have some really awesome clientels, so that I'm helping. Like, I don't want a macro business. I want to be able to help and sustain people, because I think with people get coaching and counseling confused. Like, I'm not a counselor. I am a coach. I help you discover the answers because you have the answers. I just got to help pull them out of you. That's all. Yeah. So I would really want to see a sustainable business where it be my full-time thing. And I just want to see help people, help them grow.
Yes. And that's a great distinction between the two as well, is being able to pull out those answers because
Mhm.
coaching, consulting, counseling, the three C's, I guess. I feel like there's a lot of overlapping, a lot of confusion that goes on with
Yes.
it.
And they're all very different. Like consulting, you're doing all the heavy lifting. You're the ones with the answers. Counseling, we're trying to help you deal with past traumas. Coaching, we're forward thinking. Coaching is you have the answers. Let's pull them out. Let's get you moving in the right direction. It's like I'm your cheerleader.
Yeah. And and that's a great breakdown. And what about being a coach and a consultant? Do you see those two playing a part?
You can be a coach and a consultant. I don't think for me personally, I don't want to, because I don't want to impose my thoughts on you.
Mm,
Like, coaching is more of, I want you to establish that answer for yourself, because I can know the answer, but it's for me to be quiet. I've had to learn, and that's hard.
yeah.
You feel like you have the right answer, but you're like, no, they have to discover it for themselves, because it's kind of like a car. If you, because I had lots of friends in high school whose parents bought them cars and different things like that, and they didn't, I'm not going to say, but some of them didn't really appreciate the cars.
Oh, for
But
sure.
when you had to work for it and earn it, then you appreciate that car a whole lot more. So if I just give you the answer, you don't really appreciate it because you didn't have to work for it, you didn't have to think for it. But if I help you find the answer, you're more likely to act on it and have that sustainability with that action. It's that forward moving that I want you to keep doing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yes. And I'm glad you broke it down like that because yeah, it does get confusing for people, and it's one of those things that it's helpful to have a fresh perspective and a
Yes.
simple breakdown of what the difference
Mhm.
is because yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah. Because it's like when people need sounding boards, and what I am to them is their sounding board. And your thoughts begin to untangle once you start talking. You begin to see, okay, this is what it is. And I love to see that light bulb go off when people like, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And are we expecting another book anytime soon?
Yes. Yes, we will be expecting a book soon, but right now I want to focus on this to get this up and going. But there is a book in the actually I already written it. I just gotta get it done.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you joining me today, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I'm excited for what's coming up here in 2021.
Yes, and I appreciate you having me on here. This was a lot of fun.
Good, good. All right. Well, I will see you later. Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. If you just tuned in, be sure to listen to the replay. This was an awesome episode. As always, I love being able to connect with you both online, but here on the show as well. Now, if you want to connect with myself or our guest, you're able to. There's information in the show notes down below. And please, if you need help, reach out. Let me point you in the right direction. Even if you just need a quick conversation, I'm here for you. And if you need anything, head over to my website and start a chat. And until next time, we will see you later. Take care.